everyone, it's Jen, Scrapbena Creations. Welcome back to another project for LDRS Creative. Today I'm creating a clean and simple card using this stunning stamp set called Crazy for Daisies. I absolutely love this. It's a large stamp with a bunch of clusters of daisies as well as multiple sentiments. I'm going to be using the coordinating dies. I love their dies because they already come cut out. You don't have to snip anything apart. And with this die set, they actually have inline cuts so that you can raise the petals, and I will be doing that on my card, so I'll show you that a little bit later. I also have the Daisy Delights 6x6 paper pad here. I'm going to show you all the pattern papers. It's absolutely gorgeous. I thought when I started this project I might use some of this. In the end, I don't, but I wanted to show this to you. And while I'm showing you the individual papers, I will let you know the summer release is now available and it is super cute. So I will leave the links to the summer release, to the LDRS Creative shop, as well as Not Too Shabby, down below in the description box so you can check that out, as well as all of the other products that I'm using today. So let's jump into the coloring. I wanted to do some traditional white daisies with yellow insides, whatever the inside of a daisy is called. So we're going to start off with the white, and to create the white I want there to be lots of shadows and really good dimension in this coloring. So I'm using my cool gray Copic markers here, and I'm using a 3-color blend. My darkest is the C5, my midtone is the C3, and then my lightest is the C1. I'm also going to be using the colorless blender just to blend some of that out so it really blends near the tips of the petals and you get that soft, pretty white look. So I'm laying the darkest shadows near the center of the daisies, and then where there is a petal that overlaps one another, I'm going to add a dark shadow there as well. So you can see I've already gone ahead and laid in my C5 and my C3. And then I'm just going to pull that out with my lightest color. So a couple of those little daisies are super tiny, so they don't need much ink at all, but I still want to make sure that they have lots of shading so that they look similar to the larger daisies. It will look really dark here at first with just the white colored, but once I add in the colors, you'll see that the pops of color, I'm going to be using green for the foliage and the yellow for the insides. That white, well, the gray that I'm using will really push back. So here's the yellow colors that I'm using. I'm using a 4-color blend here. So my darkest is the Y38, my darkest midtone is the Y17, my lightest midtone Y15, and then I'm bringing in a little bit of Y02 as my lightest color, just at the top of that, so it really fades out into a light yellow. Now I felt like I wasn't getting enough shadows that stood up to the dark gray that I was using for the white, so I brought in some browns. I'm using E27 and E34, and I'm just going to add that to the very bottom of the insides of the flowers. And you can see how that little bit of brown really makes a difference in allowing the inside of the daisies to really pop. Now there's this little flower here to the left-hand side, and I decided to color it in yellow just because I didn't want to bring in any new colors. But you could color that up in any color you wanted, especially if you were using some pattern paper. You could use the paper that you're going to use in your card as inspiration and color that little bud any color you wanted. So for the green, I'm using one of my favorite green color combinations. I'm using YG17 as the darkest, YG25 as the midtone, and then YG01 as my lightest. And you can see there just laying in that darkest shadow to the bottom of each of the leaves and then up through the center and then pulling those colors out. I did use the lightest marker just to map out those green areas I wanted to color. I find that can be helpful when you have a really busy image that you're coloring, just to kind of ensure you get the color where you need it to be. So once I have that done, I'm going to just blend out the insides of my flowers with a very pale yellow. I wanted to push some of that yellow back. And then I'm bringing in my E70 markers. So I'm using E71 and E70 for the little oval shaped foliage to the right hand side of the flower. So now my image is ready to die cut. So I'm going to go ahead and place the coordinating die over my colored image here. I'm going to use some purple tape just to adhere that lightly to my cardstock so I can die cut that using my manual die cutting machine. And I'm going to show you here where the inline dies here cut out the petals. It's super fun. So I'm going to go ahead and add some foam tape to the back of those petals that will pop up, and then I'm going to adhere the rest of the image down just with some liquid glue. So I wanted to have this to the top, kind of 1/3 of my card panel here. This is a standard A2 size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I just felt like I needed to ground it somehow. So I'm going to use a little bit of some gold glitter tape here. This is a self-adhesive glitter tape, but it's a little bit old. It's been in my stash for a while. So I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive here to adhere this down. And then that way I know that it's there for good and I don't have to worry about it coming up. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the double-sided tape to the back panel and just ensure that when I wrap that glitter tape around, it won't come up once the card is adhered. I can add some liquid adhesive to my daisies. I just absolutely love this stamp set. And I'm just going to add that on top of my glitter tape here. I did go ahead and color some more of the individual foliage. I'm going to end up using 2 of those, one to the upper right hand side and then one over to the left. I just wanted to fill out the top of my card there a little bit more and bring in more color. So now that I have everything arranged and glued down, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. So I'm using I love you. There's a number of great everyday sentiments in this stamp set just because I'm thinking of you, I miss you, I love that you're in my life, I want to wish you luck, and so on. So this is a really good kind of staple stamp set you can have in your stash and use all the time. So I've stamped that out with my Raven Hybrid ink, and now I'm just going to add some final details here. So I'm using a white gel pen to add some highlights. I added some dots as well to the insides of the daisies, and that just adds some really pretty extras to what's a very clean and simple card. So once I have that done, I'm going to adhere it to my card base, making sure to lift up the release paper on the double-sided tape that's going over that glitter tape. And there's the card. Just have to make sure that panel's adhered nicely. And I think this is a beautiful, clean, and simple card. So I hope you've enjoyed this project today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for leaving your amazing comments, for shopping using my affiliate links. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you down in the comment section below. Take care, everybody. Bye.